Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another SHOUTCraft Clan War right here on MLG TV. My name is TotalBiscuit, gonna bring you an absolute firecracker of a match between Incredible Miracle and Startale. Good God, is this going to be great? It is. I should certainly hope so. Incredible teams. Probably the strongest lineup we've had so far in the Clan Wars. Two top-tier Korean teams, Incredible Miracle and Startale, going at it in the best of 7 Pro League format on community-made maps for your delectations. This is what the lineup looks like, and it looks killer. We're going to kick it off here on Fallen Dreams with Ruin versus Curious, following up with Yonghua versus Trickster. Trickster is not a name you have heard for a long time, is it? He used to be called, of course, Trickster or Tester. He is now actually called SKS, and he has just returned from his mandatory military service in South Korea. So it's really cool to see him coming out again. Now, I believe this would be his debut performance. I think it is. Pretty sure. Yep, pretty sure this is his debut performance back from military. So that's absolutely awesome to see him back again. We then have one of the lesser-known players coming out right here for IM, which is cool. Terran by the name of Ungnim. He's going to be going up against Panic. But of course, he will not be alone. He's going to be teamed up with Lucky versus Pet in the 2v2 on Sacred Path. It's going to be great. After that, Biol gets Wrecking Ball again. He loves that map. What can I say? It's Wrecking Biol. We love it. And he's going up against Hack, one of the strongest Startale players in the world. And then, of course, Squirtle versus Panic on Starbow Python in a PvP. I really hope that they have practiced Starbow, because that's going to be very, very, very strange. And then, of course, we have Trap versus Pet on Kero, and the ace matches on Neopolaris Rhapsody if we need it. God, this is going to be cool. Hi, guys. I hope you're not all StarCraft out from IEM, which I believe is actually just finishing. Let's put some light on the subject. There we go. Okay. This is going to be cool. I'm interested to see how a Zerg versus Protoss plays out in Fallen Dreams. And we're going to find out. It's going to be a really strong opening match, I think. Just going to check if Ruin is ready. And then we can get started. Curious is ready to go. Curious, one of my favorite Zergs from Startale. Really strong. Hasn't had his real breakthrough performance as of yet, but I think he's about to have it. He's kind of on the cusp of that. He is so good, and he's been so good for a very, very long time. So I thoroughly expect him to do well. But this is going to be kind of great. I mean, it's a lineup of really strong Korean players who are top tier, and who also both play in Pro League. Of course, there is a downside to that. They may not have had the time to properly practice these maps, but IM and Startale have both played on these maps before, and IM has not won as of yet, strangely enough, but Startale has. They beat Axiom, which was very strong lineup, of course, and they beat Axiom 4-2, so yeah, they're not messing around. Okay, the first one is ready to go. Fallen Dreams will be the venue for our maiden encounter here between these two, Curious and Ruin, in a Zerg vs Protoss. And I'm hoping it's going to be very, very good. If it's not, I'll be very, very disappointed, as most of you will be, no doubt. But yes, as IEM wraps up, welcome to those who have just tuned into the stream. I dearly hope that you enjoy this. I certainly will. And we've got the map loading up right now. Let's see who can put the first point on the board. Both of these guys starting off fairly strong. I'd say Startale maybe with the stronger opener. But Ruin is not to be messed with. Neither of these guys are. They're both top-tier pros. So my hope is that we get a really great series from them. Curious apparently has the slightly slower computer. Should we blame the Startale sponsors? I certainly hope not. Perhaps this computer needs a little bit of Red Bull. Alright, here we go, folks. We are in the game and ready to rock and roll. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fallen Dreams. It's my pleasure in this SHOUTCraft Clan War to bring you the first representative of Team Startale in the red trunks playing Zerg. His name is Curious. Versus his opponent. To the southwest position, in the stylish pink trunks. Oh yes, playing Protoss for Incredible Miracle, his name is Ruin. And that is going to be the pylon right there. Interesting. So, the reason why I put his pylon here is this map is a little bit unusual. It does not have a ramp to the natural expansion. It actually has this area right here, which is very similar to a really old map called Kulas Ravine. And it's got this kind of choke point that you can set up. And that's why he's putting his pylon there. And if you wall this area off, you basically have a pocket expo here that is very, very hard to attack early on. Very difficult. You can attack it later, though. these rocks right here, pretty vulnerable. So it's an interesting idea. It actually reminds me, of course, of a little bit of an old ladder map in Wings of Liberty called Terminus. It was used in various tournaments. Now, Curious, I've got to imagine he was going to go for a 15 hatch. I don't see why he would do anything else. I would imagine that he realizes that Ruin can very easily wall off. The question is, what is Ruin going to do? Is he going to go... I mean, he's building up an awful lot here. I think he might actually risk it. Yeah, looks like he's going to go for the Nexus first. That makes sense. I think he realizes that Curious is probably going to go hatch first, so Nexus first is safe here, and then he can eventually get this wall off. Now, for those of you who don't know, this map has bridges, as you can see here. And these bridges will retract and extend every 45 seconds. Now, anything that is on these bridges, when that happens, will die. So if these things retract, then the units will plummet to an acid death beneath. Not what you want. The more interesting feature, however, is a little bit more subtle, and it affects just how these players move around the map. Because these bridges are the main access points, if you wish to attack while these bridges are up, then you have to go around the side of the map, which is much, much easier to scout and also takes a long time. However, Zerg have been favoring this map. And the reason they've been favoring it is because Zerglings are so fast that they can get around the edge of the map very easily. I would imagine that Terran with Hellions would be pretty good too, and in fact we saw Apocalypse play mech on this last time around and try to utilize that, but it didn't really work out so well for him. We're seeing actually a gateway for a wall off here and a cyber core, so no forge coming out of Ruin, which is very interesting. Usually in these kind of setups that you would expect a forge and maybe a cannon behind it, but he seems extremely confident that he can hold that choke point, and to be fair, I think that means that he really has looked at the map. He understands that this map is a little bit different. Most maps you'd want a cannon, but not here. Don't think so. So in the meantime, we've got Curious taking his hatchery, but he hasn't taken his third yet. Showing no signs of taking it yet. A couple of lings making their way out. A couple of queens being added on here for Curious as well. And of course we have the research, metabolic boost on the way, getting speed. Probably the most key upgrade to any game on Fallen Dreams. Anyone, because you just need that speed to get around the side of the map there. Bridges are now extending, but you'll notice that the Zerglings automatically pathed around the first bridge and then will utilize the second bridge to get across, which is just a little bit quicker. Also, of course, thanks to MLG for sponsoring this event. $60,000 over the next 12 months available for these teams to win. Stargate coming up here from Ruin. Yeah, and that makes absolute sense. He's able to wall in. Wow. Now, usually you don't see this, but Curious is going to start to work away at these rocks. The thing is, Ruin has actually spotted it. Moves his mothership core over there, and he seems a little bit suspicious. Thankfully, of course, for a Protoss player, against Lings, you can put that mothership core there, and you can knock down Lings all day. So, any attempt to access that back expansion with a run-by is not going to happen, and immediately, Curious goes into 8 drones, and is just putting down his third base. He realizes that he's not going to get much of an aggressive opportunity here. So now he has to prepare for the Stargate, and let's see what Ruin decides to build with it. Will it be an Oracle? Will it be a Void Ray? Or will we actually just see some Phoenix play? It's going to be an Oracle. Okay. Now, I've got to love these Overlord placements here. Absolutely phenomenal from Curious. He's got one here and one here. It's going to be not entirely impossible, but quite difficult for an Oracle to slip out unless Ruin deliberately paths it right to the side. And that's assuming that these Lings that are going around the side don't see it either. It's entirely possible. Curious going to have to look at it again. I think he wants to work at those rocks again. He really wants to weaken this so that he's got access. Okay, Oracle is out, and it is going to pass the... Oh, no, Overlord is going in the other direction. That, as it turns out, was not such a good idea. I have a feeling that he might have suspected Phoenixes were coming out, so wanted to protect his Overlord, but that didn't work out so well. Curious going for the scout here. This Oracle is going to find the third base, but it's not going to find anything to do here, and Spores are already going down, so... Yeah. Curious knows. He knows what's coming. So he's got a Spore coming up, which should help protect him against the Oracle a little bit. And this Queen's going to help too, actually. Now, the Oracle is going to work away at the Queen, but it's going to waste a lot of energy doing it. It will kill the Queen, but the amount of damage that's done to the Oracle, as well as the amount of energy wasted, is actually going to blunt this attack quite nicely. And that Oracle is now going to be forced back. There's now a Void Ray out, which of course has been scouted. Whoa, 2 more Stargates. Ruin's going for 3 base, 3 Stargate here. Full-on air toss early game. I mean, you don't see much of this now. In very early Heart of the Swarm, you did see some of this. You saw a lot of basically triple gate Void Ray play against Zerg, but that kind of died off. As to why, I actually couldn't tell you. Like, I'd love to tell you why it died off, because Alicia and Crank were both using it to huge effect. It actually was kind of known as an Axiom Protoss build for a while. But I would imagine, yeah, we're going to actually see Void Ray, but we're going to see triple This is, okay, this is interesting. This is not what I expected to see at all. Triple Void Ray, yeah, I could see that being an old build, but going into triple Phoenix after 2 Void Rays, that's a really interesting build coming out here from Ruin. And I suppose one way of avoiding the bridges is just to fly. That works. So this is a really, really interesting setup. And now he's building a robotics. He's got to keep building Phoenixes, surely. I mean, you don't just build 3 Phoenixes. It's okay for getting lifts on Queens, but no, you want more Phoenixes than that. Well, so far, Curious has played super passive and is looking to try and defend against this. He did get 67 drones in the meantime, and he's just about to get his lair, but this Air Force is powerful right now. Couple of Void Rays. There's not enough Queens here to deal with this, so Queen has gone airborne already, and Ruin's Stargate build is looking pretty strong. There's so much firepower available. 1 Spore is certainly not enough. Queens are coming in, but there's no Hydra Den. There's no Spire. Of course there's going to be no Spire. Curious was very late with the lair. There's a Ling run by counterattack coming in, but so far, Ruin has been doing some pretty significant damage. This Oracle up to 13 kills now. Hydra Den is now on the way, but will it be able to do the job? Lings make their way around, and there's already a cannon there. Ruin's defense is impeccable here. Absolutely sorted out the way it needs to be. 9 Phoenixes now. I mean, that's absurd. Even if he gets a large amount of Hydras, you know what's kind of weird about this situation? You'd think that Hydras would be the perfect counter to this, because of course it's air units, right? Well, oh, he almost lost some Lings. Good lord, that was close. That was close. Usually you'd say, well, Hydras is a great counter to this, but not with this many Phoenixes, because Phoenixes do bonus damage to light. You can lift up Hydras and kill them very, very fast. So, I think that, frankly, Curious is in a lot of trouble. But strangely enough, he hasn't actually taken that much damage yet. 26 workers, but he's still on 59 of his own because he was super, super economical. Now he's building Hydralisks, but he's going to need Spore Crawlers, he's going to need Queen support here. Ling run by coming in, attempted wall off from Ruin, does not work, and finally Curious gets something done over here. Warpin comes in, Phoenixes are now making their way in, popping yet another Overlord and a Queen getting picked up as well, Hydra coming out, and he's trying to just get his anti-air forces together. Now 7 workers killed by Curious, he's trying to make his way back into this game, but Ruin is very clearly ahead in most respects. But the Zerg player is not down and out as of yet, gotta say. Man, that is a lot of air control, though. That is very scary. And Curious going for the Mondragon strategy of, hey, the counter to Phoenix's hatchery, which is, of course, absolutely true. Build more hatcheries. Expand more. Phoenixes don't shoot ground. And try and build up your anti-air force in the process. It's now maybe getting to the point where there might be enough Hydras and Queens to throw this back, but I don't know. I mean, there's only 2 Queens for 3, now about to be 4 hatcheries, so the injects are not looking too good either. So Curious's economy is in a bit of a state. I'm not convinced about this Hydra count. Missile attacks is about to be finished, but Ruin is going to do some significant damage here if he's allowed to get into that worker line. Lovely fending off here by Curious. He pushes them back once again. The Ling run by has now been shut down. Only 7 workers killed, and we're seeing a transition into Colossus Void Ray. 3 Void Rays and Colossus coming out, additional gateways, Twilight Council. I mean, it just seems to be everything right now. At the moment, the only advantage Curious really has is upgrades, and that's not going to stick around for all that long because he hasn't been able to build too many of them. Another Queen gets lifted up and eliminated very, very easily here as Ruin just goes to town on that mineral line, taking out 3 more. Ling's on the way across the map as well here. Hydra's trying to move into position, but slow response time here from Curious results in yet more damage. 38 workers killed, so it's 59 versus 73. This is a 3-base Protoss that is just beasting it. This is a really cool build, I gotta say, from Ruin. It does give an opportunity for Curious, now that this attack is finally abated, to try and get his economy back in order with the 10 more drones, which will help, certainly, but it's this Queen count that I'm really concerned about. If he can't build units at the right kind of speed, then what's he going to do? These Hydras are struggling. They don't have muscular augments, which is kind of surprising, because Curious is floating 2,000 gas. I wonder if he just forgot, actually. That would be unusual, but we need to see those muscular augments for these Hydras, otherwise they're never going to end up catching this. And in the meantime, here's the push. And this 4th base is most assuredly forfeit here. These Phoenixes are causing these Hydras to run all over the map and not really getting anything done. 4th base is absolutely dead. Ruin with an excellent army to fight this. And there are only 4 Void Rays, but there's Phoenixes and there's 12 Corruptors coming up. That might be enough with good Hydra support, but there's Colossus in the mix as well. The Protoss army here is terrifying. 190 supply to 134. This is not looking good for our Startale player, I've got to say. Ruin, I think, has a death army here, and he's just going to come right down on Curious, and there's not much I think the Curious can do about it. even if he gets good engagements here. I mean, it would require the Protoss to literally walk off the bridge, I think, at this point. A Warp in, a Zealots comes in as well to do yet more damage to Curious's economy. In comes the engagement from the side, takes the Oracle out, but look at all them lifts. GG, nicely done, and Incredible Miracle, takes the first in this best of 7 series. That's a really nice Protoss build. That's nasty. That is just dirty and evil. Very well played, though. Well, IM certainly ruined Startale's day, haven't they? But still everything to play for, because this is the best of 7 Pro League series, folks. That means all manner of crazy things can end up happening. All manner. The next map that we have coming up in our pool is going to be Neo Jungle Valley, and we're going to see Trickster, which is awesome, by the way, because it's been so long since I've seen Trickster play StarCraft. I'm really curious to see how it's going to work out for him. SKS versus Hyunghwa. Hyunghwa, of course, being an incredibly good Protoss. Really, really good. He's done so well lately in Pro League. Really surprising a lot of people, I think. And perhaps they shouldn't be so surprised by that. We'll find out after the break, folks. Will IM be able to extend it to 2-0, or will we see Startale tie it up? We'll find out in a few moments. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We have yet another fantastic match ready to rock and roll. We've got SKS up against Hyunghwa. Gonna be a PvP. And they're ready to go. It's gonna be Neo Jungle Valley. Okay, PvP on Neo Jungle. That's gonna be an intriguing one. I have a feeling we might see Blink Stalkers. That's a possibility. This is definitely a Blink map. Very much so. Let's see how that ends up going, shall we? So currently, it is 1 in the lead for Incredible Miracle. Ruin putting 1 down on the board in a pretty good style, honestly. Very, very solid build. Nothing that his opponent could really do about it, at least. I don't know, I don't think the Curious really realized fast enough as to what exactly was going on there. And I have a feeling that's why things ended up going the way that they did. But regardless, here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, to the southwest position in the pink trunks playing Protoss, now known as SKS, formerly Trickster and Tester. Those were his 2 names before going to the military in South Korea for 2 years. He was one of the original players in the GSL Opens and was tipped at one point to be a champion. Playing Protoss for Startale, it's SKS. Versus his opponent to the southeast position. In the blue trunks, also playing Protoss, one of the big hitters in Pro League for Incredible Miracle. His name is Hyunghwa. Alright. So, Neo Jungle Valley. Bit weird, this one. Pretty much every map in our pool is a bit weird in some way. But there are various ways to describe this map. And most of them involve the term Protoss-friendly. So, if we go across the map, what we notice is that there are rocks. Lots of them. And by lots of them, I mean they block off pretty much every possible scouting path initially. Neo Jungle Valley is a semi-island map. So, you are actually separated from your opponent. It's a fairly early gas there from SKS. We'll see what he decides to do with that. No gas as of yet here from Hyunghwa. He may be going for double gas on 17. We might see that come down from him. I think he's going on Nexus first. Wow. Okay. Yeah, both these guys have obviously practiced the map in some way. The question is, how's it going to work out? So, as I said, semi-island map. Meaning that it is inaccessible. Completely inaccessible for Protoss in particular early game. There's no way a Protoss can scout early. No way. The best thing to do is to get a sentry and use hallucinate. But an early scout, a probe scout, not even possible. Physically impossible. Every possible path is blocked off by rocks. So that means you're kind of playing blind. However, there are certain advantages to this, of course. Because in the mid-game, the Protoss is very powerful here, because Blink Stalkers allow him to bypass a lot of this stuff. Of course, Warp Prism play is very good as well, and Pylon's fairly effective. I could even see some crazy stuff like rush Warp Prism into warping or actually building a pylon on the other side of the map. I think that would be absolutely awesome to watch. So, we have seen people rush for Blinkstalkers on this map, and indeed, IM actually picked up their first victory on this very map with a Protoss. It was Hyunghwa who did it, if I recall correctly. He opened up Blinkstalkers against Jaedong, 2-base Blinkstalker, and just killed them straight up. SKS is actually going to go with a Stargate here. And a second gateway coming down. Huh, interesting. Second gateway for Hyunghwa. That may be indicative of Stalkers, possibly. You want to try and start to build your Stalker count up. And once the Cyber Core is finished, we'll see if that's exactly what he's looking to do. Now, there is a pylon at the back, which might be for a Twilight Council. So we need to keep an eye out for that. It may be possible that Hyunghwa will go Blink again on this map. He had success with it previously. But we're going to see Phoenix out of SKS here. I like that idea. It's a good map. There's the Twilight. He's actually putting it there instead, but yeah, most likely we're going to see Blinkstalkers here. We might not. It's possible that he might be going DT, but if you think about it, how is that going to work? You need to break the rocks down. By the time the DT arrives, it's absolutely pointless. So if this is not Blink, I'll be very surprised. Let me put it that way. It's possibly not, but it's very unlikely. In the meantime, SKS is going to build Phoenixes, which is awesome, because that means he has full map control. He can see everything, and there's not really much that his opponent can do about it. Gas count is lining up for Blink in 30 gas time. It's gotta be Blink. Gotta be Blinkstalkers here from Hyunghwa. And there they are. Yeah. And SKS should be able to see this. I'm not really sure what SKS is. Oh, we found a mothership core. Wow. I don't think that Hyunghwa was actually expecting this. He doesn't have energy for a recall. He needs more energy. This mothership core is actually going to die with about 90 energy on it. Unless SKS doesn't micro properly. 85 energy. No, this can't live. No way. Wow, what a pickup for SKS. What a great start. Not having the mothership core. Potential disaster here. Another Phoenix comes in, and down it goes. Absolutely beautiful for SKS. I don't think that Hyunghwa was expecting Phoenix. Evidently not. You know, Phoenix against Protoss is actually a bit of an old build, and it does work pretty well, and I think on a map like this, it's awesome. Really works, and that's actually allowed SKS to secure his expansion. And this is pretty cool, because Hyunghwa has now lost his mothership core, which, frankly, he was looking to use. I would imagine he wanted to try and blink past these rocks, use the mothership core to scout and also for time warp and potential recall plays. Now SKS is going to work on this probe line. Takes out 3. Really strong start here from our returning player. Very cool. Alright. Well, 2 more gateways are being added on by SKS, so he's saying, alright, I think I know what you're doing, and I definitely know what you're doing now, because I just scouted you researching Blink. So I'm going to have to build gateways in order to push this back. This is a weird map, because this has actually been 10-minute no rush, basically, because the map is set up in that way. We're going to see Void Rays being added on by SKS, which I definitely like. Add a couple of Void Rays against Blinkstalkers with some gateways. Maybe some Zealots. It's pretty good. Works quite well. Immortal being added on by SKS as well. So far, we're not actually seeing that many units coming out of... Yeah, not that many. We're seeing an Observer coming out here instead for Hyunghwa. Which, again, I kind of like instead of a Mothership Core, because if your opponent's got big Phoenix control in the air, that Mothership Core is very vulnerable to dying. So, all we're actually seeing here is Hyunghwa not rebuild his Mothership Core, because otherwise those Phoenixes, that full Phoenix hit squad, would just sneak in there and smack him. So we now have Forge up, and Blink is done, but the problem is, if he goes across the map, then those Phoenixes are going to go into the mineral line, they're going to do a lot of damage, and in PvP that makes a big difference. Strangely enough, SKS is severely behind economically because he dedicated so much to the early tech that he built his Nexus a lot later. So he's a little bit behind in that regard. But he is pinning Hyunghwa into his base with a lot of Blinkstalkers. Observer making its way across the map is going to actually finally get its scout at 10-minute mark. Very, very strange, isn't it? And a third base coming up. So far, the rocks are not down. Neither player has attempted to knock down the rocks as of yet. Phoenix is coming again. Take a little bit of damage. Nice little blink here by Hyunghwa. Not enough to take it out, though. Not yet. Not yet. Eventually could be. Immortals being added on here as well by SKS. And a Forge. And more Void Rays. I mean, we're going up to 2 Void Rays here, 2 Immortals. I wonder what exactly Hyunghwa's going to do from here. I think, yeah, he's going to transition. This idea of going Blinkstalker, it's nice to have them, but he can't do it. Not from here. He can't fight with just that. So I think what he has to do, which I think he has realized and is doing the right thing here, is to just extend his economic lead, get a third base, get tech, get Colossus, and start cliff walking, and just hit a firepower to knock the rocks down so we can access the different parts of the map here. Still, we're on like 11-minute no rush now. It's a nice little place to put the pylon, by the way. It is possible to warp in past the rocks. The problem is you don't have a way of getting past the rocks on the other side. So it's a neat little trick, but it's not as helpful as you might think. The question is, who starts to batter down their rocks first? Because neither player has shown a willingness to do that up to this point. Not at all. I have to wonder who will decide to attack here. Twilight Council also being added on for SKS. Definitely like that. Lovely little catch, actually, by SKS. Takes out an observer. The second observer for Hyunghwa is actually with the army. For all those DTs that are clearly not coming. But Warp Prism play on this map could be quite powerful, so that's worth bearing in mind. Now, you also note that the third base actually has rocks which need to be knocked down in order to gain access to this Vespene gas. So, you can't get too greedy. I believe that is deliberately... Oh, SKS taking a bit of damage there, but he does get a scout off on the Colossus. So that's good. The point of these, I believe, is to stop basically a really quick 3-base play, because you think, oh, I'm so safe. I'm going to go up to 6 gas really fast and not build any military units. Well, you can't really do that because you need to take these rocks out. And they're only 1 armor rocks, but they're still 2,000 health, so you do need to kill them off at least. Slows down greed just a little bit, although not a huge amount. SKS also taking his own base, but again, he's still economically behind here. His probe count is quite low for this stage in the game, only 52, but he does have a pretty scary army with some heavy tech. Although, as a result of this increased economy here for Hyunghwa, he has a slightly larger army. But tech-wise, I mean, look at this. SKS has 5 Immortals. He's going up to 6. Immortal Void Ray is the main composition here. SKS doing a bit of long-distance mining as this finishes up, and these are going to knock down the rocks really quickly. I wonder if SKS is going to actually decide to engage. I think he needs to before the Colossus count gets ridiculous, and we're even seeing charge added on here, so I have a feeling another little bit of Phoenix harass there, which has actually killed 11 workers up to this point, if you can believe it. That's I'd say even losing 3 Phoenix, that's very cost-effective, especially with the amount of scouting information he's got. Archon's being added to the mix as well, and as I said, Hyunghwa's actually researched charge, so... SKS is going to be a little bit careful about going too Immortal heavy here, but his composition is a little bit strange. It might be enough to break his opponent, but the Zealot count for Hyunghwa is at 15, so we'd need to see like some really good force fields, and honestly, well, SKS can't really do that with only 1 sentry, so... Still, neither of these guys willing to knock the rocks down, so they're going to sit on each side of the map and macro, their heart's content. Much more supply here in favor of Hyunghwa. I have to wonder, actually, if it really... I don't think it's really SKS out of practice, per se, but Hyunghwa's macro has been absurd, and even with the amount of harassment that's been done, he has such a large army. 119 supplied at 63. He's been just powering out probes, and his economy's been pretty much perfect the entire time. So now, the march begins. And the rocks are, of course, on all sides. He's going to have to make his way through. The third base is most likely going to end up being the target here. So a lot of Immortals from SKS, and he does have Colossus as well. Cannons being added on both sides. Warp Prism being added on by Hyunghwa. Very nice thing to have here. Pylon going down for SKS. Time Warp. Nice place to Time Warp, but he doesn't really have the AoE. If he'd been able to combine that with either Archon shots or Storms or Colossus, that might have been dangerous. But I think, honestly, SKS is just looking to buy time here. He's got 1 more Time Warp. And if he waits and this army goes into the Time Warp, then things could get really interesting. There's no Mothership Core, bear in mind. Well, there is, but he's left it at home. It's actually coming to join the army now. So, very Zealot-heavy army here. In theory, Hyunghwa can win this fight, but it depends on the engagement. The Zealot's coming in right now, and the Time Warp's going to be added onto the center. A lot more Colossus here. We need to see good Immortal shots coming out. Wow! SKS takes a fantastic fight on this side of the choke point here, and he could take another one. Hyunghwa's still with a big army, though. He's not done yet, and the Mothership Core energy is gone. Colossus now being put into it. Yet more damage being inflicted. There's a lot of Immortals at the back, but this Colossus count is very, very high here for Hyunghwa. I don't know if this is where SKS wants to fight. I'm going to go with no. Doesn't want to fight in that choke. This is a really dangerous place, and in the meantime, huge Zealot warp into the base. Absolutely massive from Hyunghwa. 10 plus Zealots go into it. SKS getting hammered here. Hyunghwa pushes through the center, ravages the main with a Warp Prism drop. absolutely huge amount of zealots in the fray. This Colossus being microed really, really well, but that is a lot of damage, and this third base is gonna go down, and that's the GG, and IM puts the second one on the board, and shows they are not messing around today. Very nice performance there from Incredible Miracle, what can I say? Man, what a PvP. Well, to be fair, I think you could have probably cut out the first 10 minutes and then put the last 2 and said, what a PvP! But that's kind of the nature of the map, of course. We had a situation where SKS scouted what was going on very quickly, gained early map control with Stargates, maintained it, did some economic damage, but what Hyunghwa did in the background was just macro his heart out. Just macro, as fast as you possibly could. Did such a good job. And at that point, he was able to just crash his way through, and we had an initial really, really good fight from SKS. Incredibly good fight from SKS. He takes the fight really well in the choke point, does a lot of damage, but doesn't have anything like Storm, doesn't have enough Colossus at the back, and those Immortals are not really any good because they're targeting down Zealots. And they're not actually able to get to the meat at the back. They're not able to hit the other targets. They're not able to kite the Archons, they're not able to kill the Colossus, they're not able to kill the Stalkers, and that big Zealot warp-in was just the nail in the coffin there for SKS. But he's looking fairly sharp, I gotta say. I'm looking forward to seeing him play a bit more StarCraft. It's cool to see him back. It's always nice to see players returning from their absence. However, the 2v2 is coming, folks. Let's see who can bring it on that. So we got Panic and Pet versus Ungnim and Lucky. So it's going to be Zerg and Protoss versus Zerg and Terran. We'll find out after this break. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the SHOUTCraft Clan Wars. The 2v2 is ready to rock and roll. We got Ungnim and Lucky. Oh yes, versus Panic and Pet. Alright. Lucky, Panic, everyone confirms ready to rock and roll. 2v2 is very unpredictable. It's not often played at the pro level, and it's played even less at the pro level by Koreans. Although, strangely enough, in Brood War, 2v2 was a fixture of Pro League. That was something that was done an awful lot. It was part of Pro League, and it was an accepted part of Pro League, and there were people that were very good at 2v2. And then, of course, they would use their B-teamers to play a lot of 2v2 as well, which is... Oh, it's almost what we're seeing here. I mean, I wouldn't like to call Panic Startale B-teamer, but Ungnim certainly, and of course Lucky, a fairly recent acquisition for Incredible Miracle coming off of FXO, who unfortunately has not seen a lot of success lately. Lucky was a great player a long time ago, but he kind of fell out a bit, as many players unfortunately have a tendency to do. I'd like to point out that I managed to not mess up my overlay this time, so congratulations to me. Alright, here we go, folks. Sacred Path will be the venue for this 2v2 battle between Incredible Miracle's Lucky and his teammate Ungnim, playing Zerg and Terran respectively, versus their opponents. From Team Startale in the pink, playing Zerg, it is Pet, and his teammate in the green playing Protoss, it is Panic. Now, we're seeing a lot of success lately. Hello. Ah, really early wall-off, actually. No, actually, I have to wonder if he is. He might be scouting. He sent double SCV out there, so I was thinking, hang on a minute, is he going to go wall at the center of the map? It's certainly possible. He may decide to proxy his racks to wall this off. I think he might. I think he's going to, you know. I have a feeling he's going to proxy that racks in the center. This is something that we saw Hart attempt to do when Axiom played, but it was not successful. That said, I have a feeling that these guys might have got a little bit better, so there you go. Barracks in the center, second, yeah, we're going to see a Barracks wall-off, which I think is probably the strongest opener you could do on this map. Again, we have seen it work to some degree. This is actually what was used against Startale previously, but Life just decided, you know what, I'm going to find a hole in this wall of rocks here, and I'm just going to attack it, and I'm going to go around this wall-off. But as you see here, IM is going for the wall-off in the center. Now, what's Startale going to do? Well, Panic is playing pretty straight up for the most part, at least for the time being. He's probably going to want a Mothership Core. Very, very, very valuable unit to have on this map, particularly considering that it's your earliest flying unit, and it's difficult to go and defend your teammate's base. Something you've got to bear in mind. So I'm loving this opening here from Ungnim. What I am interested to see is what we get from Pet. He's still got 3 in gas. I assume he's going to go right for speed. Yep. I like speed, but the problem is speedlings do get shut down by this wall off in the center here. So if Pet goes too much into speedlings, which He's not going too far in yet, but he's way behind in terms of drones, as you can see. In fact, we see both Lucky and Pet going for speedlings at this point. And, well, there's a wall off there, and there's going to be Marines behind it. So Pet's going to have to say, well, I guess we need to find a hole in the wall. We've got to start making one. And as you can see, that's what he's going to do. Now, this happened against Axiom as well. Startale did exactly the same thing. They found a hole in the wall, they started making their way through it. So what we need to see here is a successful scout. And Lucky's going to see it. This is much, much better for them. So what he can do is he can bring Marines around the back, and he can attack those Zerglings and prevent this from happening. This is already shaping up to be a very interesting 2v2. I'm not sure what these Lings are planning on doing. I think that Ungnim is going to have to bring his in there. There we go. It looks like he has been told, can you go and kill these, please? We're having a few problems over here. The last thing you want is a hole in your rock wall off here. So the Marines are now going to make their way in, and they should... they're going to have to get pretty close here, but they should be able to do this. Hang on a minute. Panic's going to collapse the rocks. Interesting. Wow. Does that collapse both rock towers? Oh god, these towers are linked. If Ungnim doesn't lift at the right time, then I think his barracks are going to get flattened. Because these two rock towers are actually linked here, and Ungnim realizes that this is a threat here. Stalker coming out from Panic, a lot of Lings coming in from both sides, and Ungnim decides now is the time to make the push. I've got to go in, I've got to prevent those from going down. And this is a sizable force here from Incredible Miracle. Startale suffering here. There are a lot of Lings coming in, looking for the surround, but that's not happening. And I'm not really sure what Panic's been doing, but he's gone actually up to 4 gates right now. He just says, you know what, I need units immediately. Thankfully, they're all warp gates, so we should be able to warp in here, but this is already a really strange game indeed. Pet gets the surround, though, and is able to do some damage, and he looks to try and make the run by, but that's not going to happen. There's enough Lings and Marines to defend this. Now units being brought in, and Startale is getting hammered here. Lucky's Lings coming in, trying to take out Panic's Stalkers, and they're going to be able to get it as well, and Ungnim is pushing in with his Marines as well. There's no reinforcements coming right here from Pet whatsoever. He's fighting in the middle of the map. That's not going to help him. GG! Wow, that was a great strategy there. And properly executed. Incredible Miracle is up 3-0. Good lord. Using the same build that we saw from Axiom's Heart, but able to execute it successfully there. Spot the attempted go-around. And at that point, well, that was kind of brutal. 2v2 has a tendency to do it. It's very... wow, that kind of blew my mind. I'm sorry. It was really cool to see that strategy properly executed and done properly. But I think that by the time Startale figured out what was going on, they didn't have enough units to actually defend. But that was kind of crazy, and Ungnim and Lucky pick up yet another map here for Incredible Miracle. 3-0. Is this going to be our first all-kill of the tournament? It might be. We'll find out after this break. We're going to be going on to Wrecking Ball next. It's going to be a great match, I think. Hack versus Bial. Don't go anywhere, folks. You're watching SHOUTCraft Clan Wars here on MLG TV. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SHOUTCraft Clan Wars. I apologize for the delay. We got a rather interesting bug that has caused one of our maps to be renamed to GH Testing Ziggity. I am deadly serious. I could not make this shit up. This is what has happened. Okay. Oh man, so here's the situation. It's pretty grim for Startale. They are down 3-0. They have sent out one of their best players, Hack, to fight Bial on Bial's map. However, bear in mind that Bial has never won on Wrecking Bial. It's important to note. Can he win now? If he does, he'll complete the first all-kill in SHOUTCraft Clan Wars by beating Startale 4-0, which would be absolutely crushing. That is not what you'd expect. These are two very evenly matched teams. They, for the most part, even live and train in the same house together. So you would not expect it to be that one-sided. But Bial is a monster, and I don't know if Hack can handle him. I guess we're about to find out. This is going to be a good one way or the other, folks. I can tell you that for a fact. Bial versus Hack on GH Testing Ziggity. How does that even happen? And of all the things that it could possibly be called, we found it under GH Testing Ziggity. What can I say? The Blizzard map editor has some interesting quirks. I just hope this is the right version. It doesn't just explode or something. It's entirely possible. Who knows? Oh, man. Okay, ladies and gents. This is looking bad for Startale. Bad, bad, bad. Can they bring it back? I guess we'll find out. Welcome to GH Testing Ziggity. I wasn't kidding! See? You can see it on the map right there. I wasn't lying. Also known as Wrecking Ball, most of the time. We're not sure what happened there. To the south position in the blue trunks, the last man standing for Startale. He has got to start the comeback right now. His name is Hack. He's playing Terran. Versus his opponent to the north position. In the red trunks, playing Zerg. It's his map. He loves this map. But he's never won on it yet. Let's see if he can put one on the board now and complete the all-kill. For Incredible Miracle, playing Zerg, he is Bjol. What a beast Bjol is. What a monster. An absolute monster of a player. Hack's pretty good too, though. I remember Hack. I cast Hack a long time ago. A long, long time ago. And Hack is going proxy racks. Very interesting. It's going to be a double proxy racks by the looks of it. I wonder if he's going to... He's surely not going to use the add-ons, is he? No. There's actually a couple of neutral Terran add-ons on this map that you can use. It is actually possible to do that. It's right there. You see that tech lab? You can actually do it. It's not really hugely beneficial, but they are on the map just as doodads, but you can utilize them. Anyway, as I was saying, the last... well, I haven't cast Hack in ages, but first time I cast Hack, he was a member of Team Xenix. Never forget. Bjol? What do you do? Bjol is scouting. He thinks there's a proxy going on, and he's right. Is he gonna... He's gonna find it! He's gonna find it! Super suspicious of the 11-11, and he is able to spot it. But the barracks does finish, and the second one is going to finish as well. And Bjol actually went with an earlier pull here, so... Well, I gotta say, Bjol clearly knew what was going on. He has obviously practiced against Hack a lot. And I don't know if this 11-11 is going to work now. Oh, Hack's pulling SCVs. Wow, he is all in on this. And this could actually be a very swift end one way or the other. It could work with that SCV pull. It could work. It's possible. Bjol doesn't see the SCVs either, so it depends what Bjol decides to do and just how well he can do. He's pulling drones as well. I don't think this is going to work for Hack. I don't see it working. Even with this many SCVs pulled, maybe there's not enough drones pulled. It's possible. Maybe there's not enough. These barracks are not very close. The bunker is coming up here. Let's see how good Hack really is. That's a nice little defensive wall here, actually. Really nice moves from Hack so far. Bjol taking damage. More Marines coming in as well. And it looks like Bjol is going to try and cut off the reinforcements. We're going to have to see some good target fire here from Hack. He can take down one unit, but this bunker is going to finish. And the Marines are on the way. So I think Bjol has got to say goodbye to that hatchery. At least he lets it finish. Wow. Okay. Bjol thinks he can beat this. I am not convinced that he can. Because Hack's in a good spot. Although Hack is actually supply blocked, strangely enough. He's going to have to lose a unit here. He is supply blocked. He's now building a supply depot. He'll probably lose some units anyway, so I guess that won't matter too much for him. But this bunker is pretty much untouchable at this point. Bjol was able to scout it, but it didn't matter because Hack pulled a bunch of SCVs and got an excellent engagement. This is a micro battle between these two. Lovely repair action coming on here as well. This bunker is now getting surrounded. Repairs are being put into place, though. Reinforcements are being brought in. Are they going to be quick enough? Well, Hack is microing around. Oh, lovely micro on this bunker right here. SCVs are coming in. Marines coming in as well. Can Hack actually beat all of these units? There's still the SCVs buffering so much damage. There are only 4 Marines left, though. He needs to rally them in immediately, and he knows that. There's so many Lings coming in here. SCVs are surrounded. The Marines continue to fight as best they can. They start to step back into the corner here. He's killed a lot of Zerglings. A lot of Zerglings. More Marines are on the way here. Hack with the slight miscontrol, though. Uh-oh. Well, Hack's actually resumed SCV production. And he's gone back into it. And unfortunately, he didn't kill this hatchery. So the aggression is basically over now. Hack's gonna quickly build a wall off to prevent a counterattack. But the aggression is over. Bjol did dedicate a lot to it, though. What's the Units lost looking at. Okay, so 31 Lings, 12 Marines, 8 SCVs, 5 drones. Resources lost quite equal. There's no Marines defending this, though. Are there enough Lings to break this? I think once they're complete and the repairs come in, he should be okay. Oh, no. Hack's going to have to repair this immediately. He's building this barracks up here. Okay, so he's able to keep up with it so far. I'm concerned about this barracks going down. Barracks are now going to land. There are no Marines out as of yet. There is nothing to defend this. He's got to pull SCVs to repair. That is the only way. The only way. Thankfully, it looks like he's going to be able to keep up with the repair. It's going to drain his minerals a little bit here, but Biel is not going to be able to break this. And he knows it. He's building drones. The only thing he's doing is forcing his opponent to be honest, forcing him to build Marines, and actually defend against this. So we're actually going to go into a normal game here, but Biel is way ahead. Way ahead. We are still looking at a 1-base Terran versus a 2-base Zerg. If this hatchery had gone down, then maybe I would have said that. Oh, what? What? No! Hack! What are you doing? Oh, no! This is a disaster. This should never have happened in a million years. And I have a feeling Hack's just going to... Well, he's not going to die, but he took even more damage unnecessarily. Lovely micro from Hack, but, I mean, that's kind of making up for the fact that he just let a bunch of Lings in his base. Good lord. I guess he thought the aggression was over, and, well, it wasn't. Good lord. Again, excellent Marine control, but... Hack. Playing with fire, and way behind here. Where does Hack go out of this? I mean, he's expanding. He has slowed Biel's economy down a bit, but Biel's going to go take a 3rd base now, surely. And we've only just got the command center started for Hack. This does not look good for Startale. Not at all. IM is looking for the all kill here. There are a lot of Marines out, though. Even then, we've got 16 Lings being built, and the Overlord doesn't actually spot the move out. With Queens and Creep, I don't see this working. 12 Marines being moved out with no stim, no combat shield, Baneling Nest being added on here, double expand behind it. Hack's gonna have to do some damage, and I don't think he's gonna be able to. Speed isn't done yet, that's the only blessing, but it's gonna be done in 30 seconds. So unless Hack somehow kills all of these Lings right now, doesn't get fully surrounded and murdered kind of like that, that's it. No way. Absolutely no way in a million years. Speed is about to complete here. IM is about to complete the all-kill. Biel, obviously prepared for this map. He even knew what his opponent was going to do. He scouted it. He prepared for it. 3 command centers are now down, but what difference is that going to make? A bunker's on the way up. It's not finished yet. There are not enough Marines to prevent this from happening. He will be able to wall into his base. He's got to be forced to cancel that and lift. And it's just Lings, Lings, Lings. That looks like Biel is just going to go for a full-on Baneling bust. 41 Zerglings, Baneling Nest done. And Hack is going to have to... I don't know what he's going to do here. There's 10 Banelings ready, and there's only 8 Marines, and there's nothing... 15 Banelings. Biel's going to finish this in style. Hack is... There's a 99% chance that he dies here. That tiny sliver of 1% that somehow Biel messes this up, it's highly unlikely. Here come the glowing orange Banelings, and Hack backs off as his entire front wall is destroyed. Oh, it's absolutely crushing. Biel rolls over Startale Hack, and that is a 4-0 all-kill right here for Incredible Miracle. Wow, short and to the point this clan war has been. Incredible Miracle looking really good this time around. They lost to Evil Geniuses in the first ever clan war here on SHOUTCraft, but that is not happening now. Absolutely not. Incredible Miracle has obviously practiced all these maps. They know exactly what they're doing. And Startale was straight up not good enough. I'm afraid. Not this time around. That's unfortunate. We didn't get to see Squirtle and Panic play Starbow. But oh man. That was just a massacre. A complete massacre. I am just ruining their relationship with Startale there in a 4-0 crush. Good lord. Really impressive play, gotta say. Sadly, we will not see Starbo play today because it was a 4-0 all-kill, which is, let's just say, kind of surprising? I'd say so. Yeah, bit surprising for me. I did not think Startale would fold so easily. But I am showing dominance. No doubt about that. Well, folks, that was, again, short and to the point. I've got to say, some Clan Wars are going to be like that. Some of them are going to be long. That's just the way of it. But we've got plenty more Clan Wars coming. If you want to check them out in the future, well, the first thing I'd recommend is if you click the follow button below the video window, it will email you every time we go live with the Clan Wars. So you don't even have to worry about times or anything like that, which is great. So the next event is going to be Root versus Complexity. So the Battle of the Americans on Monday, March the 17th. It's going to be at 9 p.m. UTC, folks. Which is GMT, if you hadn't already realized. That's still 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time, EDT. Just bear in mind that there is only a 4-hour gap between the UK and the East Coast of the US right now, and a 5-hour gap between Central Europe and the East Coast of the US. It's going to be a good match, that one, I think, actually. We've got QXC versus Minigun as the opener on Keru, so that's going to be pretty good. Then straight in the 2v2, Coma and Hendreless versus Caliber playing Random versus Cats. That's going to be good. Yeah, plenty of stuff going on there. And then after that, on March the 20th, we have Team Liquid versus MVP. Yes, MVP's first entry into the Clan Wars, and they're starting off with Dongray Gu playing against Bunny. So that's going to be good. It's going to be on Fallen Dreams, a bit of Zerg versus Terran action there. Got some great matchups, actually. Keen versus Snoot, Super versus Mana, Billowy versus TLO, Dream versus Hero. And the 2v2 is Dream and Keen versus Bunny and Snoot, which I'm really looking forward to. So, plenty more Clan War action, folks. Do check the schedule. And do bear in mind, of course, Daylight Savings Time. And click the follow button to be emailed whenever a Clan War goes live. My name has been TotalBiscuit. Thank you very much for your participation in the Clan Wars today. If you get a chance, then please head on over to youtube.com/TotalBiscuit to check out the VODs. And that usually takes about a day to go up. But there will be reruns going on this channel for quite some time. Short. To the point. Incredible Miracle with the all-kill, putting one on the board for their team. And Startale, a bit of explaining to do after that one. My name has been TotalBiscuit. Thank you very much for watching SHOUTCraft Clan Wars. The next event, as I said, it'll be on March the 17th, being Monday. So in 3 days' time. At 9 p.m. UTC. I'll see you next time.